Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So yesterday we were talking about wasiya and will. Yes, that Islamically a will is allowed and permissible to the extent of 1/3 of the property, remaining property, after burial expenses, payment of debts. Got it? So the remaining property, whatsoever that is, or whatever that is, the wasiya would be implemented only to 1/3. So as I have given you an example, that look, he had $9,000 property. Yes. Expenses of burial 1,000. Yes. Debts 2,000. So now the remaining property is 6,000. But he made a wasiya of 5,000, a will of. So if we will take the will as it is, so nothing remains there for his heirs. Yes? Only $1,000. So in this remaining property, the wasiya and will would be executed only to the extent of 1/3, which is 2,000. Which is 2,000 out of the 6,000. Yes. If he does not have note, if he does not have any type of hair, even far kindred, even extended family, then the wasiya would be taken as is, or on as is basis. Got it? The next point is, note, when someone expires, you should write it. When someone expires, he loses his ownership. But only to burial expenses and payment of debts or execution of will. So it means that he is not eligible to get into ownership of anything new after his death. To get into ownership of anything new after his death. But only in 3 cases. Only in 3 cases. Number 1, the murdered one, by way of mistake, by way of mistake, owns the blood money. And later on, it goes to his heirs. Now look, somebody got hit by a car by way of accident and he got killed. Yes, in Islamic State, the driver will pay him the blood money. Will pay to whom? Actually, that ownership will go to the killed one first, and from him it will go to the heirs. Otherwise, driver has nothing to do with the heirs of the killed one. Yes, he has never harmed any one of them physically. Got it? He killed someone by way of mistake. So this ownership is proven for the murdered one after his death under the doctrine of necessity. Under what? Doctrine of necessity. Here they call doctrine or doctrine? Doctrine. But in British they call doctrine. Doctrine of necessity. And actually that pronunciation is sahi. Because R-I-N-E. Doctrine. So doctrine of necessity. That is number one. Number two. Someone hit a pregnant lady. And she delivered. A dead child. A dead child. So now, ghurra would be decided in favor of that child. Ghurra. G-H-U-R-R-A-H. In Arabic that is written like this. Ghurra. And that is 1/20th part of blood money, not 1/10. Half of 1/10, which is 1/20th. If somebody hit a pregnant woman and she delivered a dead baby, now ghurra would be or may be decided in favor of that dead baby. And ghurra is 1/20th of blood money. Blood money is 100 camel. So 1/20th is, say, 5. 5 camels. Now under the doctrine of necessity, even though the dead baby in Arabic is called janeen. What? Janeen. In Arabic that is written like this. Janeen. Now, as we mentioned, that the dead one loses his own ownership. How he will get into ownership of something after his death? But this is the second case, where the dead janeen is getting into ownership of ghurra. In ownership of ghurra. And then that ghurra goes to his heirs. Ghurra goes to whom? To his heirs. Whosoever there be. Number 3. Zaid, Z-A-I-D. Zaid made a will in favor of Khalid. Khalid? Anyone. There is no any specific Khalid. Yes, that's example. Zaid made a will in favor of someone, Khalid. Yes. Now, this is up to Khalid, either to accept or to reject. Because you cannot impose. Yes. One brother, he comes to me again and again and he says that I have a property in another state and I want to put that property in your name or in the name of masjid. So I say this, yes, let me find out. So then I asked one brother to find out, this is the number, and he said, yes, that property was for sale for a long time, but there's such a property, nobody is taking that. And he's very much fed up with the tax he is paying for. So once again he came to me and said, brother, yes, I have nothing to do with property, but even masjid cannot do anything with that property. So if somebody will make a will in favor of Fahim, or let's say in favor of Hafiz Asim, yes, and that is such a property for which he is going to pay tax only, property tax, and nothing else is coming therefrom, nobody is purchasing that. Yes? So if you will put such a property by force in the name of someone, so it's a burden, and you cannot put burden on someone without his consent. So that's why, if somebody made a will of something in favor of someone, like Zayd made it in favor of Khalid, now that is up to Khalid either to accept or to reject. This is according to Abu Hanifa, rahmatullahi alayh. To accept or to reject. And if he does not, he is quiet. He does not accept nor reject. He is quiet. So now he may be given some reasonable time to accept or reject. According to three Imams, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi and Ahmad, they are of the view that he may be given what? Some reasonable time. That's up to the court. That in 3 days you have to answer. Yes? Got it? In 10 days you have to give a paper to the court. You are going to accept or reject. That's according to Imam Malik, Imam Shafi and Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahumullah. And if he does not, so automatically it will go back to the heir of the deceased. Property will go back to the heirs of the deceased. But Abu Hanifa says, no, it cannot go like this. He has either to accept or to reject. But he did not. He did not. Until he died, Khalid died as well. The beneficiary. Khalid was what? The beneficiary. Zayd was the legator. Zayd was the legator. And he was the beneficiary. So the beneficiary died without acceptance and without rejection. Without rejection. So that property, after his death, will go to his name automatically. He will own that property after his death. Yes. And then from him it will go to his heirs. For sure. His property went to his heir. So now that new property which came into his name, it will go to his heir as well. So these are only 3 cases where property enters into the name of someone who is dead. After his death, he owns that. Because there is no any other way. There is no any other way. Otherwise, how you will apply the rules? And if, for example, the blood money of the murdered by mistake, the blood money of the murdered by his, on what rule you will distribute it amongst his heirs? If he does not own it, so that his property belongs to someone stranger. So from stranger, the heirs of the dead one, how they can take this share, that share, that share? What's the base for that? There is no base. So the only base and foundation is that you have to put that property first of all in the name of the deceased and later on into the name of his heirs. Got it? Got it or not it? And note, another one. If someone made a will, more than 1/3 of his property, and his heir allowed that okay, that's good, okay with us. So then that may be taken as it is. And if some of them, they allowed it and other refused, so that is applicable to the extent of the share of those who allowed. Yes, in more than 1/3, that will be applicable to the share of those who allowed it. Got it? Note. No, just go to another page. If someone made a will in favor of one of his heir, who is taking his share of inheritance as well, that is illegal. But if the other heirs allowed that, look, Zaid is a person. He made a will in favor of one of his sons, that such and such house of mine, that will go to Mr. Khalid, my son. And he has other sons as well. And that house is to be inherited by all his heirs. Because Khalid, he is taking his share as a son also from his property. You know what I'm saying? So Prophet ﷺ says, La wasiyat ali warisin. Someone who is heir, there is no any concept of will for such like waris. Because he is taking his share. He is taking his share. So that is a type of priority to some of your warasa, which is not good. Which is not good. But if other sons said, yes, Khalid is our big brother, if our father said that house to him, so the remaining property, we will divide and distribute it according to Sharia. And he will take that house from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? The same thing. Got it? And if the heir said that no, so then that will is dropped. Got it? وصلى الله تعالى على خير محمد وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين برحمتك.